with the COVID situation, and how travel restrictions have been on the rise right now. And yeah, that's just goes to show how problematic the situation is right now in the UK. There's a lot of these things going on, and I personally feel like people are I mean, it's going to be tiring. Definitely going to be definitely tiring. And yeah, you're looking at all of these things. The number pinged by the NHS COVID-19 app falls significantly. So yeah, after the update, I'm guessing that's why the pings have been coming down. Because, like I said, more and more people were actually giving up on that, and it's understandable why it went down. It's understandable why it was, at it is, and why a lot of people were not, using it as much as they should have. Because again, like I said, it's a very problematic thing. And seeing your pings and seeing you getting that ping and that fear and anxiety of, oh, okay, I'm pinged now. I mean, I can't. I'm stuck. I have to self isolate for 14 days. I mean, come on, that's something that you want to avoid at all costs, right? That This is just one of the reasons why this is being done. And yeah, the number of the NHS COVID app alerts have fell significantly in England and Wales in the last week of July. Official statistics have shown, and nearly 396,000 people were pinged compared with the previous week's record of 690,000, a fall of 43%, at least 40, nearly 50. I'd like to say. I'd like to write it off the number nearly 53%, but to get it more accurate, 43% have already, it's been a fall from the number of those pings. So the number of people reporting symptoms in the app also fell. So that is 24,000 reports compared to 36,156 the week before. So right now the numbers are dropping. And I don't know, I'd like to say that it's because people are not getting sick, but it could also be a lot of other things. People just getting tired of the app and not wanting to see it. So the figures were collected before changes to the app, which means it now notifies fewer close contacts. The number of positive tests linked to the app also fell by at least 43% to just over 84,500 in England and Wales. So again, I understand why a lot of people have been having this ongoing problem. Getting pinged a lot. Your phone pinging, and then you hear this ping, and then you feel the dread. The dread definitely is rising. And you wonder, okay, is like, can I be safe? Will I be safe? And I mean, am I protected? And will I have to self isolate? And if I do self isolate, okay, fine. Let's say, for instance, hypothetically, you self isolate for 14 days, right? You self isolate and you stay at home, okay, fine, because it's advised. The government is not forcing you on this. So unless you're getting in contact, you're being contacted by the trace. By the UK Trace, NHS Trace right now, it's nothing to be worried about. The track and trace, unless it's them, well, you don't really necessarily have to stay in self isolation, but it's advised to do it because you are a close contact. You are pinged. But now imagine these 14 days you stayed as a close contact, you stayed at home, and then now you come out again. Well, you get pinged again after a couple of days. I mean, come on, it's gonna be a cycle. And I understand why people wanna, they don't want to do this. And why, a lot of people are actually considering, okay, you know what? I don't want this. This is not something I want. I want to avoid this. I would rather, just forget about the app, uninstall the app, and live in peace. And if I do get COVID, I do get COVID. That's it. That's what a lot of people must. I mean, this is the general population. This is the general public, what they must be thinking. Because that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, okay, you know what? Never mind. I'll have peace of mind. I can sleep at night if I don't hear this ping. So you can see why a lot of people have been, giving up on the app with that regards. So, like I said, there's been a drop in the number of pings compared right now. So this is a fall from the previous week, but it's still well above the level seen in May when it was just over 1.1 isolation alerts for every reported case. So the pings are sent to people who have been using the app and have spent at least close enough time to another person with it. And if that person later tests positives for the COVID-19, well, and they can enter their results into the app. So that's when you can get pinged. So there's been fewer contacts so far. There's been less and less people getting contracting the virus, I'd like to say. And the big fall in the alerts also doesn't include the impact of changes to the app. So that is intended, to reduce the number of contacts and advise to self-isolate following a close contact with a positive case. And, that's, again, we have to consider all of these things. Think of it from that point of view, that aspect, right? More and more people are getting vaccinated. more and more people are trying to, at least, stay safe. And then there's going to be cases like this where, people who don't, even if they've gotten the vaccine, well, they will still be exposed to the virus. They're still going to be pinged because, look, you will be in a close enough contact. So just because you have the vaccine and let's say you get the virus, another person is still going to get the virus as well. That's something you will need to remember. So right now, the app, though, they've changed the app. They tweaked it a little bit. They've done some changes to it. So there's going to be intended to reduce the number of contacts advised to self-isolate following a close contact with a positive case. So there's been an update very recently that they released, this week. That means there's going to be, the app will look for contacts 2 days prior rather than 5 days prior with when someone without symptom tests positive. So if you have tested positive and you've not had the symptoms, well, it'll show you, this is how they collect the data. So Health Secretary Sajid Javid said it would reduce the disruption, but it still protects those at risk. Again, when you talk about disruption, right, people are going to, for the workforce, if you're being advised to self-isolate for so many number of days, like X number of days, well, a company can't really, it's already in its tethers is what I'd like to say. It's already at its edge and, it's already barely hanging by a thread. And then now you tell me 14 days I self-isolate. Fine, they give you that. Another 14 days you'll need to self-isolate. Come on, that's a problem right there. So these close contacts, they will have to implement a strategy with this regards. And I can see, that they are doing these tests. Again, the NHS app had a lot of potential, a lot of potential, but then it had to be like this. It had to, it went to something like this where people started giving up on it. It's just saddening. So a number of these industries, right now, including car manufacturers, had complained that the number of staff self-isolating because of pings was disrupting the production of their cars. So the bar staff has also said, that they've asked them the managers have actually asked them to delete the app to avoid having to isolate. And the number of check-ins to venues using the app also saw a large decline. So yeah, again, managers telling you to delete the app because they don't want you to have a ping. Either way, you're going to have a ping if you really think about it. Either way, you're going to have the virus. Whether you have it or not, you're still going to be a close contact. That's something that's unavoidable. But yeah, I understand the frustration. People will be like, what? For what? For what? For what would you even have an app like this if it's going to keep on pinging and you will have to be worried every single time you'll have to be self-isolating? That's pointless. That's the whole point of lifting the restrictions. You guys tell me, 07852-473-473. But with that being said, we're going to be taking a real quick break and we will be right back after this.
the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be? So that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right?